beautiful Wednesday to you, and thank you for joining me on a new episode of the Women Series, where we capture developments and stories that impact women. My name is Ayomide Oguntoye. So it is the last Wednesday in the month of April 2022, and our economy still states a double-digit inflation. Now, we might not reckon with this, but what we know is that the cost of things in the market is double, sometimes even triple the price, especially food prices. As at March 2022, the inflation rate was 15.92%, while we have the food inflation standing at 17.20% thereabouts. Now, this is not only happening in Nigeria, as it is also, it's a global phenomenon. It's happening everywhere. USA, as of March 2022 as well, I think they have their inflation rate standing at about 8.5%. Now, part of the implications and what it means for a common man is the hike in the price of things in the markets, which we are obviously experiencing now. Other implications I might not be able to say, but guess what? I have a financial expert joining me virtually to speak on it, and most importantly, how we can, as women, hedge inflation with our money. First, let's go on a quick break. We'll be back.
Tune in to Web TV Daily to stay up to date and informed on the financial market, personal finance, and more. We have got you covered with all your favorite TV shows, economy and politics, market review, women's series, millennial talk, Islamic Finance Weekly, The Brief, exclusive interviews, events, and we keep you up to date on all the updates in the financial market with the market opening gong. Watch premium content. Watch Web TV. Same news, different perspective.
Welcome back. Today we will be talking about women and money in a high inflation environment. And joining me to have this conversation is a financial analyst and a friend of the house, Elizabeth Ekpo. Hello, Elizabeth. How are you doing?
Hi, Ayomide. It's good to be here today again.
Thank you. Thank you for always. Thank you. I need to state that clearly. Thank you for always.
Well,
How are you doing, by the way? How's work?
fine. Thank you.
So let's quickly go straight into conversation. I would be asking you about your experience shortly, but before we talk about your experience with regards to inflation rates and what it means for the common man. So recently I stumbled on a TikTok video of a man that recently described his salary as of 2016, compared the salary as of 2016 to that of 2022. So now in 2016, he was earning about 200,000 naira. And in dollars, it was about 1,600 thereabouts. And now in 2022, he has had 3 promotions. He's now earning 400,000 naira. And in dollar rates, he's earning about $600 thereabouts. I can't really remember the figure, but somewhere around $600, $700. Now, that's someone's experience comparing. I mean, we understand what this means, but let's talk about your own experience. I have my own experience. I mean, I had a recent experience just this week. But let's talk about yours, first of all. What is your experience with inflation rates? And of course, as a woman, who know what the cost of things is in markets, how would you describe your experience with the increase in price in the market as well?
Well, so let's look at what inflation really is first. And I think even the common man knows, even without going to a school, what inflation is, the general increase in the prices of goods and services. And that has impacted all of us. So there's no Nigerian today that wouldn't complain of inflation or who hasn't had an experience in inflation. Even if you didn't know what inflation meant, by just going to the market, you'd be like, what exactly is happening here? So I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, I remember in 2020, even in the peak of COVID, we were buying gas for 3,500, 4,000. Today, we are buying the cylinder of gas. Early this year was going for almost 10,000 naira. The last time I bought last week, I was buying for about 7,500. That's more than double the price. if you want to look at it from that perspective. I used to buy bread at 500 naira. Today, I'm buying bread at about 750, 800. So you see that it has impacted all of us, even from the food, daily living perspective. The price of even transportation now has been on the hike because of the Russian crisis, because of what's happening in the US, supply chain disruptions due to COVID-19. So it's affecting everybody. It's not just us in Nigeria. It's affecting the world globally, but we are being hit harder because of where we are from an economic point of view. So yeah, I mean, our experience hasn't been palatable, and we're all struggling to see how we can manage in the current economic situation.
Now, I mean, if we start going on and on to share experiences, we probably would not live here today, because you just mentioned one out of 1,000, sorry. If we have to, you just talked about the price of gas, cooking gas. Now, but in reality, where exactly do we stand? Is inflation edging the only solution we have for now? Or probably let's just even talk about the concept of inflation edge. What exactly does it mean? And is that like the only solution we have for now?
So inflation hedge is basically trying to protect your purchasing power from decreasing as inflation goes up. So you know that as inflation goes up, your purchasing power, so the value of what you get for the naira. So the example of the guy that you gave, who used to earn 200,000, 2016, yeah, you could get this much on a dollar basis, and in 2022, even though he has been promoted, this value has not necessarily increased. You understand? So even in some instances, it might dwindle. So inflation hedging is basically just trying to maintain that purchasing power. What am I saying? I have 1,000 today. I could buy 2 years ago, I could buy 2 loaves of bread. Today, my 1,000 naira can buy just 1 loaf of bread. But with inflation hedge, I should be able to have at least 1,400 to be able to buy 2 loaves of bread at 750, or 1,500 at 750 for 2 loaves of bread. That would be that I have hedged my inflation, because I can still afford the same quantity of bread I was affording I was able to afford 2 years ago. That's what inflation hedging basically is. And that's at the micro level, because that is what we can do as individuals on our personal basis. How do we ensure that our purchasing power remains the same or doesn't decrease as inflation goes up? But there are things that can be done on the macro level. So from a government perspective, things around diversifying the...
Sorry, I was going to ask that what are the ways we can hedge against inflation? I mean, you've made like a very, very simple example, but what other ways can we, because I know that you're just about to talk about from the government perspective or from the government level, this is what it can do, but let's just merge everything together. What are the ways to hedge against inflation?
So on the micro level, what the way we can hedge inflation is investment. So by increasing, so that you are having assets that increase in value over time, and that way you are able to maintain your purchasing power over time as inflation increases as well. So what are those assets? For instance, we talk about investing in things like equity. Why do we say equity? Because we know that companies, as prices of goods and prices of resources increase, some companies might be able to transfer that price to the price of their end products to the consumers, and by doing so, they are also able to pass on that price, increase their revenue, and are also able to their stock price increase as well. So you start to benefit from that. Real estate is also another way of hedging, investing in real estate, because because people are paying rent on a yearly, monthly basis, depending on where you live. There's a flexibility that the rental income can be increased over time, and the value of the property as well can rise over time. And so you tend to hedge inflation through diversifying your portfolio investment, and also from a personal management perspective as well, asking for discounts. So if I go to buy something that used to cost 500 before, now it's costing 700, I'm able to get a 5% discount. I might be able to still afford 2 of that same stuff, or by just adding a little bit of money and not as much as I would have added given the current price, but just seeking that extra ways of reducing your cost by either asking for discount, buying in bulk, shopping with friends. Where I saw recently where someone gave a good advice where say you come together with a group of friends, about 10, 20 of you, you form a cooperative and you're able to buy at wholesale prices. And so you get the items as cheaper value that you get at retail price. That way you're keeping your costs low, even though prices have increased.
Sorry to cut you, and I think that especially works in for food items. Now, can we talk about other options as opposed to what's it called now? As opposed to the ones you've mentioned, are there other options women can navigate the rising tide of inflation, which is affecting their purchasing power parity?
Another way is to I was looking for ways to increase your income. So on a year-on-year basis, how are you increasing your income? So ensuring that you get that promotion so that you get that increase in income as at when due. Ensuring that you're upskilling yourself so that you can apply for higher paying jobs. So that's really one of the ways that you can maintain your purchasing power over time, even with the rising inflation. So you see that if we're earning 200,000 naira today, and next year able to earn 300 or 400,000 naira, you might still be able to afford the same standard of living, even though inflation may have gone up, because you're able to increase your income. So looking for other ways to increase your income, either through upskilling yourself, through seeking, or people say side hustle. So what are the other things that you are doing for income? Maybe a simple thing as even teaching. Sometimes I engage in teaching where you're paid, and those are just extra incomes that comes from time to time that you can leverage on to, augment your current income and ensure that you are maintaining the standard of living that you're used to, and that your cost of living is not necessarily rising overboard with inflation.
Right. I mean, I think that is very, very short, very brief, and quite informative. One thing I'm taking home would definitely be coming together as a group and trying to get things that you would need in the house. We cannot do without food. We can't do without consumables. I mean, that's like one important thing that we cannot do without in the house and as women. So this is one way to navigate through the tide of inflation, the rising tide of inflation. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for doing this with me. Thank you for always once again.
Thank you very much for having me, Ayomide. It's always a pleasure to be on Web
TV. Same here. Thank you very much. And that would be all for this edition of the Women's Series. I hope we've been able to bring you quite informative information. I don't know how you want to put it, but it was very informative. Do as you wish with this information that you have just received. And thank you for joining us on this episode. If you've got questions or comments, kindly reach out to me at ayomide.oguntoye@prosheng.com. If you'd like to read more on our personal finance, watch more on our videos, and any other thing you want to learn about finance, log on to www.prosheng.com/webtv. Follow us on our social media platforms, and until next week, next month, thank you for watching.